So the homie Cordae dropped his project, man, his album, his second studio album, From a Bird Eye View, last week, man. And academics dropped, his sales, his first week sales. Cordae did 20K, y'all. 20K. And I was reading in the comments, a lot of people said L, a lot of people said I didn't even know he dropped. So yesterday, me and my cousin had a little conversation about this, man. And we was like, who is still buying albums these days, bro? Honestly, who's still buying albums these days, man? A lot of these numbers come from stream. A lot of people just listening to the album. A lot of people's not buying it, And with Cordae, bro, he's a very young, intelligent artist, man. I feel like he is definitely one of the best at his age, bro. There's a couple things that could play into him selling 20K or whatnot. Maybe his, consistency, not dropping enough to, have that fan base. You feel me? Like, Cordae have a fan base, but is it big enough, of a fan base that where his numbers can increase? You get what I'm saying? Let me see how much the Lost Boy did the first week. I always told y'all this, bro. After like 2019, 2020, I stopped caring about the first week sales. Like, for real. Like, the first week sales was amazing. Like, it was great to see. Like, I still, look at it here and there. But it's just like, bro, it's all about longevity, man. Because some people music is here today and gone tomorrow, bro. Like, for real. That's how it is, man. But a lot of people say Cordae music is boring. I just feel like Cordae, realistically, bro, he's making music in the wrong era. Like, for real. A lot of people don't like songs or music that he makes, man. Because if you driving around, or you in a party, you in the club, you feel me, whatever the case may be, you want to listen to a song that gets you turned, or a song that the bass is going crazy, hype. That's the type of vibe, that's the type of generation and era that we living in. It's crazy. But that music that Cordae makes can sell as well. Like, come on, J. Cole, Kendrick, you get what I'm saying? Like, he resembles a lot of these other artists, bro. For real, man. Let me see how many. Okay. So the Lost Boy did 25. Oh, damn. I didn't even know that. Oh, wow. But my boy Cordae's here, bro. He's here to stay, man. But finna watch this video called Cordae Flopped. You feel me? Let's see what's going on. Let's see what's going on with this video, man. Y'all let me know in the comments. Did Cordae flop or not? W or L in the comments, man.
What's poppin', y'all? Today we're gonna have a conversation about Cordae's album sales, specifically the most recent one, which was From a Bird's Eye View. I listened to this album. I thought the album was cool. One thing that I have noticed is, let me get to the sales first. He sold 20K, about 20K first week. A lot of people were calling this a poor performance compared to his last album, which was his debut that got nominated for a Grammy. The Lost Boy, that was dropped in 2019. It sold around 25K. So he's just had a small drop, you could call it. Some people expect.
But he got nominated for a Grammy, though, for that album. Word.
Expected him to sell more. One thing that I've noticed, though, is the difference in the narrative surrounding Cordae. I still actually haven't listened to The Lost Boy yet, so I can't comment on whether that album is good or not from my personal perspective, but it was getting a ton of love on social media at the time. Like I said, it was Grammy nominated, but the narrative surrounding Cordae changed a lot leading up to this album, because when I would look on social media, people were just giving him a ton of hate, and I was taken aback by it, a bit surprised to see people calling him mid. They've always had this J. Cole moniker they sort of threw on him, which I'm not entirely sure why. I don't think they're very similar, but they're saying, oh, he's just a mid J. Cole. People saying he sucks. People saying he's corny. And I'm looking around like, where was all this energy 3 years ago? It felt like the same people were praising Cordae, saying he was going to be the hottest thing and he was the next rapper to come up. And as for the sales, I think one thing that Cordae has missed out on is hits. He doesn't have a hit yet. But that's just one thing. There are several things I think led up to Cordae's perception as well as his inability to sell however many sales people want him to sell. I think if he did 50K, that's what people were expecting. I wasn't expecting 50K. I thought he was going to sell probably 30 because he didn't have any hits, like I said, nothing leading up to this, and he took a pretty long break. He was trying to drop singles in between then that were added. For example, the song with Roddy Ricch, I think that was a single before the album dropped. That's why they had it as a bonus track. So Cordae, we got to look back. Cordae came out in around 2018, and this is a very unique time because 2018, I feel like that's the peak in terms of popularity of quote-unquote SoundCloud rap. That's when you had people like Lil Xan going crazy. You had, actually, was Lil Xan? Nah, Lil Xan was beginning to fall off. You still had people like Lil Pump going crazy. You had Blueface. You had a lot of SoundCloud rappers going crazy 2018. We started to get the Trippie Reds. I think the XXL freshman class for that year was one of the weakest we had ever seen. It was either 2017 or 18 that was very weak. And then
18.
Here comes, we also had just gotten Amir. And then here comes Cordae. He drops a My Name Is remix by Eminem and I think a 1985 remix to J. Cole's song, which is, I feel, where the initial J. Cole comparisons came. And here came this young rapper that wasn't rapping like SoundCloud rappers. He wasn't dropping lean bars. He wasn't dropping Xan bars. He wasn't trying to be a gangsta, none of that. He was just giving his authentic self in a different perspective, a little bit more traditional in the rap side. And automatically, a lot of the older heads or older crowd, they gravitated towards it and said, damn, I really mess with this. This guy's coming out of YBN, who have Namir and Almighty J at the time, and they're not making music like this. He's really setting himself apart. And I think this is where people might have overhyped Cordae, because the perception that some people have of him is that, oh, he's this spiritual, lyrical, etc. type of image that they would throw on, let's say, Logic. Whereas I would say, and I think most people would say, Logic, from a bar standpoint and a technical rapping ability, is far ahead of Cordae at this point. Cordae is not a bad rapper, but he's not dropping crazy bars. He's not dropping intricate rhymes. It's doing the basics very well. That's where I have to commend Cordae. But at the time, there wasn't really any rappers rapping like Cordae that were young. Fast forward, you've got people mixing it up. You had Roddy Ricch coming in a little bit later. You had people like DaBaby. And Lost Boy got a lot of love, it felt like, from the industry as well, because this was his first album. He was going on tour with Anderson .Paak. Anderson .Paak still hadn't blown up like he has now. Although, can we really consider him having blown up now? He does have a hit, but a solo project, I'm not sure what that would do. We'll say Anderson .Paak blew up right now. So he went on tour with him, and then he's getting all of these looks. He's getting a Grammy nomination, which surprised a lot of people, but it was a critically acclaimed album. People loved it. Then he kind of goes ghost. He does this political activist type of role, which is something that J. Cole does as well. Kendrick Lamar, he does it more so in his music, but in real life and on social media, he tends to just take a seat back and let the music speak for itself. So he has a different approach. I think this is probably why more people continue to throw him into the J. Cole lane. However, now, fast forward to now, it feels like the narrative's completely switched. It's kind of like Roddy Ricch or DaBaby, for instance. Everybody loved DaBaby when he came out, and now people are saying, oh, DaBaby keeps making the same song again and again.
Bro, you got in this life, bro, like, people perspective is going to change, bro, you know? They going to love you today and hate you tomorrow, bro. People perspective is always going to change on you, man. It's just like, that's why you just got to continue doing what you're doing, bro, because they're going to love you, bro. They're going to love you, man. They're going to love you. And at the same time, they're going to hate you. You feel me? That's how social media works. That's how this internet thing is running by, bro. One day they love you, next day they hate you, bro. It's crazy.
So for this album, he's tried to have hits in the past, and I think he's attempted it with, for example, that Super song. He's attempted it with the Sinister song with Lil Wayne, and I think these are great tracks. They get playlisting. They get a decent push, but nothing really hits. And I'm having trouble finding Cordae fans or Cordae stands, if you want to call it, which I think are incredibly rare on social media, and that's a barometer for whether a rapper actually has people rocking with them. Another criticism I've seen is people saying he feels very industry. And he didn't come into the game industry-wise, but I could see why people thought these older figureheads within hip-hop and the industry wanted to push him forward because, like I said, when it came to the time frame in 2018, he was one of these rappers that stood out and gave people some memory or some hope of, okay, we can get some people actually spitting again. But when he come on an album with an Eminem feature, to a remix of a song, Lil Wayne feature, Gunna feature, a Her feature, which some people are saying that Cordae is the male Her. If you don't know who Her is, Her, she's an R&B artist that's been getting nominations for everything for countless years while her numbers were nowhere near there. She didn't really have hits, anything like that. So they're giving Cordae all these features, and I don't think that's going to stop anytime soon. I think they're going to keep trying to push him. But it doesn't seem to be sticking yet. And then that brings us to the conversation of will it stick or what can be done to make it stick. And I personally think he absolutely needs a hit. It's long overdue. He hasn't had a hit his entire career up until now. They tried to get him a Roddy Ricch feature when Roddy Ricch had just blown up, and that song didn't take off. 2020 and 2021, he laid relatively low, didn't make any noise, which you would think someone after having a Grammy-nominated album, they would try to go crazy. Unfortunately, 2020 happened, so that couldn't really manifest itself, even if he wanted to. But we saw people get active on social media like DaBaby and take over 2020 damn near. Also, people feel like Cordae is preachy, which I don't get that vibe from him. Some people say that he talks in a manner that makes them feel that he thinks he's better than them, which I don't get either. I think he's just trying to share a different perspective. I think there's a unique pocket for that. Perhaps those people just haven't found Cordae yet. There's also the missing come-up story, really, for Cordae that a lot of people can champion. We just know that he blew up with YBN. YBN Namir blew up. He sort of helped Cordae. Cordae took off after that. There isn't much of a story or narrative created. And there are other artists, for example, like Travis Scott, that blew up seemingly out of nowhere. He was a nobody, then he's with Kanye West. I've done videos talking more in depth about his past, but even rappers that blew up as quote-unquote industry plants, they at least craft this narrative or come-up story that people can buy into. And this is an extremely important part of any artist's career, because if people buy into the story, they're going to enjoy the music that much more. It gives good reference material. So perhaps Cordae needs to somehow craft that story. Is it going to be through music? Is it going to be through doing more interviews, appearances, working with other artists? I'm not entirely sure. Hopefully he can grow his fan base with a tour I'm guessing he's going to do this year. But I just don't see what Cordae has that will give him an edge in comparison to, let's say, a Jack Harlow or a Baby Keem. These are other young rappers that don't fit the mold. Jack Harlow's white, so we can't even really compare him. But let's say, for example, Baby Keem is not a street rapper at all. He's more in the lane that Cordae is, in the sense that, okay, we don't expect these guys to be shooting. They're not talking that gangster talk, none of that. What kind of music are they making? Baby Keem far more leans into the, we're not going to call it trap, but melodic, experimental type of rapping than the traditional type of style that Cordae is leaning into. And maybe if Cordae tries something new, which he has dropped some melodies on this album, which is why I say it's a good album, will people just say, oh, he's trying too hard, he should just go back to what he's doing? It's a difficult position to be in, but that's off the top of my head where I think things are missing here. His album didn't dominate the conversation at all. Plus, it dropped not the same week, but people were just talking about Gunna's album for 2 weeks straight. His album didn't really dominate the conversation. So let me know what y'all think in the comments. What did you think of his album?
Pushing P. That's why I gotta go crazy, bro. That Pushing P slang is going viral, man. But Cordae as an artist, bro, I'm not even too worried about Cordae, bro. He's gonna be fine, man. Like for he's definitely gonna be fine. It is true though that he do need to grow his fan base, and he do need to be more consistent, and he do need to drop a hit. I could definitely agree with that, but saying that he's this and he's that, nah, bro. I think he's just talking, man, for real, for real. 20K was crazy. I was not expecting 20K. Um, but I am expecting Cordae to be just fine, man. So y'all let me know in the comments, man, y'all thoughts and stuff like that, man. It's your boy DJ. I'm out of here.